Alright guys, post-fight to Canelo Alvarez versus Alfredo Angulo. Canelo Alvarez knocks him out in what may or may not be a controversial referee stoppage. Um, Ultimately, the decision was Alfredo Angulo was getting hit too much, and Tony Weeks stopped the fight after, in the 10th round, where Canelo Alvarez landed a very clean uppercut. Canelo Alvarez was landing clean shots the entire fight. You could look at it from the perception of Virgil Hunter, seeing is that it was only one shot, and that he was taking Canelo's power all night. There was no question that Alfredo Angulo can take a punch. I think the more important question is how long can he take this punishment before it can lead to long-term effects. We see his face at the end of the stoppage. He's puffed up. Both of his eyes are swelling, and he even has a slight cut over one eye. That could easily open up in the next round. And, perhaps this fight was going to be stopped later on anyways. There was a big crowd outroar over the fight from the perception that Alfredo Angulo was coming on strong. However, he had a good 8th or 9th round. I think it was a 9th round. But early 10th round, Canelo went back to taking over. He was in complete control of the fight, and it was more of Canelo taking breaks in the fights, where Angulo was able to come on and throw combinations. But I think Canelo was selectively taking breaks, like he always does, pacing himself to go 12 rounds, and not giving up control, but just letting Angulo fire off a couple shots, and just working on it on the inside, and working on it on his own game on the inside. So, let me know what you guys think. Was this a bad stoppage? This is now the wide perception. I think the Showtime analysts have some more compassion for the stoppage, but the crowd booing Canelo after the fight, Jim Gray calling it a poor decision. The immediate reaction is this is a bad stoppage, and I can see where you're going with that. However, you have to understand, fights like Manny Pacquiao versus Antonio Margarito went the distance, and look what happened to Margarito. He busted his eye. He only had one more fight left in him, and that was a career for Antonio Margarito. This stoppage might be able to extend Alfredo Angulo's career by not taking the damage he would have taken. Continuing in the 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. In fact, believe it or not, this fight could have been stopped earlier. That's what I think. It could have been stopped earlier. If Buddy McGirt was in the corner, maybe he would have stopped it earlier. You never know. This is still boxing. Let me know what you guys think about the stoppage post-fight to Angulo versus Canelo. Credit to Canelo. He dominated the fight. He destroyed him. He won by knockout. Shout out to D-Style. He called it right on the money. So, that's what it is, guys. Peace out. Take care.